Good morning, 10th graders. I hope you're doing well. Um, this week we're going to be talking about, at least in this lesson, sexual differences, sexual orientation, and respecting those differences that people have. So I know that some people at our school and in this culture that we live in might not agree with some of these things. We do ask you to be respectful when we're watching and listening to what's going on. So I hope that you do learn something from this and get some information that hopefully will be helpful in the future. So these ground rules we laid out to have when we were talking about this in class. Obviously, we're not in class, so I'm just going to skip over those ground rules. Obviously, respect of this lesson is very important, and not making fun of it, laughing about it, joking. But we hope that you will listen to this with an open ear and open heart. So part of healthy sexuality is knowing yourself and your values. Another equally important part is treating others with respect. We've kind of dealt with this when we've been talking about consent and communicating about your desires sexually. Also, we need to respect what other people, their different sexual orientations. So you may not make the same choices about sex, understand someone's feelings about his or her gender, or share the same sexual orientation. But respecting people's differences creates an atmosphere of acceptance and support that can help people understand sexuality and take care of their bodies, communicate clearly, and achieve good sexual health, okay? When someone's afraid of sharing who they really are or how they really feel, it definitely is hard on them, right? That they can't express how other people express. So, misunderstandings is often the reason for a lack of respect for differences. These can be any kind, including sexual differences. So, if someone is left-handed, if someone has different color eyes, if someone has different color hair, these types of things. These questions are all going to be in the doc that we're going to ask you to submit, so you will be able to answer them as you will. But I just want you to think, have you ever felt uncomfortably different in any given scenario? Okay. Sometimes, like at least for me, I've experienced this, like moving here to Mexico with not having very strong Spanish skills and sitting in a room and like not knowing what people are talking about. It's really hard sometimes. It makes you feel uncomfortable, right? So I'm sure we all have been in situations that we feel really uncomfortable because we're different. So we will learn about your situations when we read them, and Miss Melissa and I will be responding to either fourth period or fifth period. So if you felt different every day, how would you deal with that? How would you deal with feeling different every day? Okay. That is something that a lot of us cannot understand. If you knew someone who is struggling with those same feelings you experimented, what would you do or say to him? Okay. What would you say to that person? Okay. Would you say, like, I understand how you're feeling. If you ever want to talk to me, you can, something like that. Everyone at one time or another experiences being the one who is different, right? We all experience that. Showing respect for difference in aspects of sexuality is as important as showing respect for other differences. The human race, we all have different personalities. We all are made differently. No one of us looks exactly the same unless we're identical twins. So it's really important to know that we are different, and differences should be embraced in society. Sexuality can be complicated, and not everyone knows about or understands these different aspects. No matter how a person expresses his or her sexuality, most people want to feel respected, valued, and comfortable and safe. Okay, this is a video that you guys are going to watch. You can pause here and watch it. It's a great video about just students felt at their schools about coming out and whether they made that choice or not. Okay, go ahead and pause and watch the movie. What might be some negative consequences of not respecting or being intolerant of aspects of sexuality that are different from your own? Okay. There have been hate crimes. Someone that says, you know what, I don't like gay people. I don't like gay people. And then they get put into a situation and they become aggressive and they end up killing someone because they're gay. I don't think if you ever asked that person, would you kill someone because they're gay? They probably would have said yes. But because of the circumstances and that little drop of dislike or that little drop of intolerance can bundle and grow into something so heinous of a crime. So it's really important to think about those statements and how they can grow in change in different circumstances with like a mob, with a mob aspect with like many people there, or in a situation where you're drinking or you've got an altered sense because you're taking drugs or alcohol, something like that. What could happen to the person who's disrespected? Okay, someone that's like hears this, like, you're nothing because you're gay or you're transgender or whatever. It really hurts them inside, right? It hurts who they are. It's part of their identity. People who are targeted and judged or disrespected based on aspects of their sexuality may feel confused, afraid, ashamed, or threatened. They may not be given a chance to use their talents or explore their interests, okay? Because of those assessments people are already making, okay? Obviously, if people are being judged because of their sexual orientation, they're going to be afraid to talk about it. That's why coming out of the closet is such a big deal, okay? Or they're going to feel confused, like maybe I shouldn't feel this way, so I'm going to try to hold my feelings back, okay? It's not a nice way to live. They may feel sad or become depressed and consider or act on thoughts of suicide. The LGBTQ community is much more at risk of suicide or of drug and alcohol abuse because of how society sees them and responds to them. It's very important to know that, okay? If the disrespect escalates, someone could be bullied, be seriously hurt, become a victim of a hate crime, okay? And you can look at a movie, if you're very interested in this, called The Laramie Project. That is where Matthew Shepard was murdered because he was gay. It was a hate crime that happened in Montana in the 90s. It's a very good movie if you want to watch it. When someone is disrespected, everyone around that person can be affected. Other people with difference may also feel unsafe or threatened. Disrespect creates a negative environment that limits people and makes them afraid to be themselves. When I taught full-time, I had signs on my wall that said no room for racism, no room for sexism, and no room for homophobia. And that created an environment where students knew that they could not talk about it because I wanted students to feel safe in the educational environment, that they could talk about anything, but they could not disrespect each other. And I think that is something that I hope we can all agree upon, that respecting others is super important in life, in the world. This movie, I'd like you to pause here and watch this movie. This is interviewing LGBTQ high schoolers and what their experience was. It's a really good movie. It's about 8 minutes long, so please pause and watch it. Thank you for watching the movie. You, students, might have experienced diverse feelings about the statements you just saw and heard, okay? It's hard to listen to those things. It's okay, and you don't have to agree with everything they said. Everyone has their own beliefs and the right to lead their life as best possible according to their possibilities, okay? Please know that the school and your teacher's basis is on respect of differences. That is what our school's philosophy has always been for all people of different experiences, right? From cultures to family backgrounds to sexual orientation to so many things our school believes in, okay? So tolerance, we're going to talk about these different terminology. Tolerance is the ability or willingness to tolerate something, and particularly the existence of opinions or behaviors that one does not necessarily agree with. To tolerate someone, it's like, I'm cool with you sitting there, but I'm just tolerating you be here. It's not a super positive term, okay? Respecting someone is admiration felt or shown for someone or something that you believe has good qualities. So I respect this because I know that that's how someone feels, okay? A really important thing that I'd like you to think about is what is the difference between tolerance and acceptance, okay? This is a key to understanding. Tolerance is like, I'm tolerating you sitting there and being who you are. Acceptance is me saying, hey, you want to come over to my house? You want to tell me about your boyfriend or your girlfriend? You want to tell me about like treating the person as normally as you treat anyone else. That is sheer acceptance, saying that I love you no matter what you are, no matter what sexual orientation you are, no matter what gender identity you have. It's really important to know the difference between those two. I would like you to explain the difference between tolerance and acceptance in your in the sheet you're going to answer. Some other concepts we need to understand is a stereotype, which is a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing. We make stereotypes about people, right? Some people say that Mexicans love to eat beans and they ride on donkeys. Does this happen all the time? Okay. Maybe they eat a lot of beans. Maybe they don't. Maybe they ride on donkeys. Maybe they don't. Okay. It's one of those things. We're saying that all Mexican men are machistas. It's not true, right? These are things that people oversimplify and say, oh, everyone's like this. Okay. So we got to be careful about making those generalized statements. Here's some examples. Men are strong and do all the work. Women are strong too, and women do lots of work, right? Girls are not good at sports. We can see that difference all the time in Olympic athletes, different professional sports. All white Americans are obese, lazy, and dim-witted. Homer Simpson of the TV series The Simpsons is a personification of this stereotype, right? We're not all like that. Not all the people from the U.S. are like that. Here's a Mexico one. Mexican stereotypes suggest that all Mexicans are lazy and came into America illegally, right? Well, don't people know that the history of the United States taking over part of Mexico? Okay, obviously there's Mexicans that are U.S. citizens. All Arabs and Muslims are terrorists. This comes from the 80s and 90s, right? All people who live in England have bad teeth. Really? Sexual stereotypes, on the other hand, suggest that any feminine man is gay and any masculine woman is a lesbian. Okay, just because you don't like wear skirts doesn't mean you're a lesbian. Okay, just because a guy likes to wear a purple shirt doesn't mean that he's gay. Okay, these are things that we have, like these are all stereotypes that we come against. Okay, a prejudice is something that is more deep than a stereotype. Okay, prejudice is an opinion or judgment that disregards the facts. Okay, so this is a prejudice. Women make bad drivers. Okay, immigrants are criminals. Unemployed people are lazy. We know what's happening right now in the economy, right? People are getting laid off, not because they're lazy, because there's no jobs, because there's part of the economy is not working, right? Groups of young people are looking to cause trouble. Have you guys ever noticed that when there's a group of teenagers around, people kind of like move out of your way? It's because they think that you're going to cause trouble, right? Because they know what they did when they were teenagers. We know this is not true. We know most teenagers are really good people, like yourselves. Discrimination, okay? This is defined as distinguishing differences between things or treating someone as inferior based on their race, sex, national origin, age, or other characteristics, okay? This is basically saying like, I'm not going to hire you because, I see it's very interesting because here in Mexico, like when they publicize for jobs, they say like, I'm looking for a female between the ages of 18 to 45. Like you can't do that in the United States. It's discrimination. Okay. So there's age discrimination. When I first taught, I looked so young that people thought I was a student. And so they would ask me, like the person in the hallway, when I taught at public school in the United States, they asked me for my pass and I almost got sent to the office because they thought I was a student. That was ageism. Career and parental status, okay? Some people, if you're a woman and you have a child, sometimes you won't get hired because they think that you're not going to be able to do your job well. Disability, physical, sensory, intellectual disability, work, injury, medical conditions, mental, psychological, learning disabilities. Okay, all these things. With physical disabilities, they might not let you work. We know that a lot of people with Down syndromes can't find jobs. These types of things is a discrimination because of a disability or how they were born or looking different, right? Employment activity, okay? That only women are going to be engineers, okay? That would be discrimination. Gender identity and sexual orientation, not hiring someone because they're gay or transgender. Marital status, saying because you're not married, we're not going to hire you. Physical features, okay? Political beliefs or activities. Pregnancy and breastfeeding. If you're pregnant, we're not going to hire you because we're going to have to pay you for your maternity leave, okay? Race, including color, national ethnicity, or ethnic origin, not hiring someone because of the way they look or what religion or race they're representing. Religious beliefs or activities. Sex, male or female. Personal association with someone who has or is assumed to have one of these characteristics, okay? Like, I'm not going to employ this person because they have a child with a disability because I know they'll have to leave a lot, or a child that's got cancer. So I know they're going to have to go to the hospital with their kid a lot, okay? This has a little bit of questions for you guys, okay? How do I categorize and label a person? How do I feel about a person? What are my attitudes towards him and her? How do I act towards a person, okay? This is that stereotypes can lead to prejudice, which leads to discrimination. It's a bad, vicious cycle, people. Okay? What stereotypes do you identify with? This is going to be on the worksheet that I have attached. And how do you contribute to the way that you behave towards others? Okay? This respect and inclusion video, you can pause here. It's really good. It talks about all sorts of different types of respect and acceptance of different types of people, okay? And I'd just like to know your thoughts about what we covered today. Please watch the 3 videos, and then you can fill out the questions. And thank you so much for watching. As always, I miss you guys a lot. Bye.